led by Adley Rutschman. So we're going to start with you, Jalen.
All right.
How do you see this whole thing shaking out, number one? And number two, if you had to pick a team to just latch your cart to for the rest of the season or really years to come, which team would it be chock full of young players?
I think the answer to both questions right now is both.
Baltimore Orioles?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just think right now they got a better balance, and I think their future is brighter as well.
You're going to be
Next 5 years. How about we narrow it down to 5 years? Next 5 years, which team are you buying stock in?
First off, I want to say to our producer, John McVeigh, that this was extremely rude to ask this question. I'm going with the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds have been the most exciting team to watch in baseball in the last month. It's going to continue. They're hitting between Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz.
Get pitching in the offseason. You can trade for bullpen stuff during the season. It really happened.
I don't understand. There's still time.
We can talk about that to somebody else.
We'll discuss that offline.
But I think Cincinnati is stacked up for them to be in the.
And he's raking.
And when he says there's a guy that impresses me, it's hard because to impress Joey Votto, and he even said it, this guy reminded me of Mickey Mantle. That's saying stuff right there. So I like what the Reds are doing. I think they're going to play good defense. They're going to pitch, and they're always going to hit at Great American Ballpark. So it's going to be special there.
Yeah, the ball was flying this weekend, and that ballpark was sold out. It is so fun to see that baseball is officially back in Cincinnati, and we are all buying stock as fans of the game. The All-Star game. He will participate in the home run derby for the first time in his career. So Ariel Epstein, here for it or hate it, Mookie Betts is the best leadoff hitter of all time.
Hate it.
Ooh.
I like you.
No hesitation. I love it.
Aces, be a force to be reckoned with when you're in the box. I don't need imposing Aaron Judge, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I like a guy who gets on.
Man, some analytical guys will be calling you right now saying, hold on a second. My type of guy, is a guy that kind of bombs it too. I like Alfonso Soriano. I think
you
look at him as a leadoff, I remember playing against him. This dude used a 40-ounce bat. It felt like he had that wiggle. He had that whack.
Most home runs by a leadoff hitter since the year 2000. Do you agree with these guys, or do you think it's Mookie?
That he brings to that team is just that championship mentality, right? He's been the catalyst for this team that has been a perennial, been able to put out on the field. I think Jose Altuve is one of the main ingredients to
Not only that, but he's 5'6".
Bat. He has that
Trust
big
me,
bat.
hold it down for the little guys.
You got to hold it down for the little guys.
Yogi Berra loves it.
He 100% loves that. You know what people don't love right now, especially if you're here in the New York area? You're going to be sellers set the deadline. It's August 2nd, so there's still some time, but I don't know how they're going to make up ground.
I think they're done.
For the Mets being sellers. Absolutely. 15 games back of the division, 8 games back of the wild card. You know what? Look at the players that are playing well right now for you. You're essentially.
You were there.
The WBC.
You were physically there calling the game.
I remember calling the game and that happened, and I was like, the Mets season's over.
My phone blew. No, I was watching, and I texted one of my Mets.
That's how important 3 outs are. That it can just
have errors, but that's kind of what's been going down
a lot
with the Mets this season. A lot of miscues. They had a lot of miscues in Friday's game, which led to the other loss there with the Phillies. Jalen, are you here for it, or do you hate it? Do they sell?
Yeah, I'm here for it. And like Ariel already said, she hit some great points. I mean, in my opinion, they've already the National League. So I don't see the Mets catching the Marlins or the Braves.
They remind me of a Yankees team 3 or 4 years ago, where they just weren't like athletic, they weren't fast, they weren't young, they weren't, although they are running the bases pretty well, but you just see players all you want, but the reality is, can you get 27 outs?
No pitch.
Yeah.
And that really hasn't really happened. I mean, it's been an absolute grind to get 27 outs, and you've had suspensions that you're dealing with bullpen guys and starters.
You're hurt.
Your guys aren't really stepping up the way they should step up. You have those 3, 4, 5 starters that haven't really beaten up on those 3, 4, 5 guys that you're going against. Then the reality is in that division is young, man. Like you look at the Marlins, they're coming up.
Oh, Kurt, they still have 5 teams to leapfrog, including the LA Dodgers. You did talk about how they might open up some cap space for Shohei Ohtani, who will. You just said, well, they said it's ridiculous. Do they do it? Here for it or hate it yonder. You were talking offline here for a second. This might be absolutely
You understand
bonkers.
these contracts better than anyone.
Swing for the fences. On one hand, as a pitcher, no one wants to go to the Mile High City. On the other hand, you saw him rake.
$70 million. Let's start there first.
But
right?
he wouldn't take that. You would have to do something.
No,
Make him
I
an
think
offer
if you can afford
refuse.
giving $300 million, you can probably afford $600 and keep him for 10 years.
Yonder, the thing is, though, he's 2 players. He's 2 guys.
I get that, but
and I understand that if he gets hurt, now you're you know, in a bad situation in your lineup and say he's looking for without having to sign that 10-year deal. You know, the name of the game is to get back to the bank as many times as possible. It doesn't matter the years or the amount. We want to get back to the bank as many times as possible.
You also got to perform as many times as possible. And you're a pitch away from blowing out, or you're a swing away from blowing an oblique and be out for a whole year. You're a step in the bag off, and like something like that happens.
So you'd rather sign the longer-term contract to
get that bag, get that guaranteed bag that starts with the 6.
I think he's proven it. Look, what can you not do with 300?
Solely because of what Yonder just said. Players make a name for themselves when they stay with an organization. Now, Ohtani's made a name for himself, don't get me wrong.
For some reason, he does sign a 3-year contract that's just absolutely bonkers, and somehow this all actually works out.
You get an Ohtani. You get an Ohtani.
Literally, in this alternate universe. But you look at where he'll be, and to your point, especially in a place like this, all that value. So you're right. Get the bag, probably going to start with the 6, sign for 10 years. The team's going to go ahead and probably make up for that, not just in attendance and sponsorships. They'll probably sign a TV deal in Japan, so they'll be able to get all the money from those rights. Like, Shohei Ohtani is an absolute cash cow. It has to be 10+ years. That would be his 31-year season.
Can you imagine if he's in Denver, he's hitting 100 homers?
That's what I was about to say. What kind of offensive numbers could he put up in Denver? I'd love to see it. I'm going to be honest. Give him a full season in Denver.
Hey, he hit one home run over the weekend, and that was just the beginning. But, hey, listen, Cincinnati, they were hitting homers like it was going out of style. All right, we're going to step aside here on first day, last day. I don't know. I think that's the perfect way to make the new guy feel welcome, right? I don't care if you're a Hall of Famer. I don't care what you did for the Yankees. You're still the new guy. And we're going to find a way to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable on national television. So got us to thinking, like, what weird kind of troll gifts would we give to players current or past, Ariel?
I'm going with
what's understood does not have to be explained.
It was nasty.
Wiped him out.
Oh, my God. Wasn't that bad? Thank you, baseball.
Trout went to the plate wanting to go yard. He almost never does that. Get on base. Start a rally.
Take him to the bridge.
Whatever. It's only the pride of your country at stake.